Hi everyone, today I'm just going to do a quick review of the Nitro Deck from Cracked. The Nitro Deck is essentially a new slotting controller for the Nintendo Switch that aims to solve some of the complaints with the Joy-Cons in handheld mode, mainly around the ergonomics of playing on the Switch in handheld mode. So there's a number of colourways available. I chose the retro SNS flavour, but there's standard colours as well as limited edition variants. The limited edition variants do come with a case included, which isn't exactly a bad case, but I certainly get the impression it's where the less amount of thought or time is put into, as it's pretty much as generic as a case as it's going to get. But at least it holds the Nitro Deck and gives you somewhere to store your Switch on the go. So, straight out of the box, my first impressions are drawn towards the premium plastic shell, which has tactile textures on the grips and back plate, cutouts for the Switch's fans, and medium sizes bar grip handles on each side. It also has an integrated kickstand, which feels incredibly stiff to use for some reason, and two USB-C ports for charging and wired USB use. The port placement is unfortunately more about aesthetics rather than functionality here though, with the ports on the top of the bar rather than the underside, which just makes it a bit of an inconvenience while trying to actually charge while gaming. There is a latch around the back that releases the grip on the console, but the removal process does require some awkwardness each and every time. Saying that, I have used mine primarily with my OLED Switch, and it holds the tablet's display relatively well. The weight of the Switch does fill in the Nitro Deck nicely, and it makes the whole combo just feel solid in the hands. Saying that, the Nitro Deck does fall into a bit of a trap, where it's comfortable to hold static, but does become less comfortable when actually using it in practice. The shoulder buttons are clicky, matte textured, and uniformly responsive across their length, offering a satisfying experience overall. However, they are notably loud and clacky, especially when compared to the more subdued buttons elsewhere on the controller. The triggers feature a glossy finish and a lack of comfortable rest for your fingers, so that potentially leads to slippage during the more intense gaming sessions. There are also analog triggers, but they suffer from short travel and low resistance, making their use of analog input just somewhat awkward. The face buttons are a great size and offer a firm and satisfying click to them, ensuring that you know where you've pressed them. They bounce back quite quickly, but if you're button mashing, do have a slight tendency to rub slightly against the shell, which is unfortunate, but thankfully not the case the vast majority of the time. The joysticks utilise Hall effect sticks, which should all but eliminate drift, though they would definitely benefit from being more resistant as they feel incredibly loose. The replaceable flat stick caps function well, but don't offer the same grip as some other controllers, leaving additional room for improvement there. The analog sticks also have the most significant drawback of the whole Nitro Deck in my opinion, which is the placement of the right stick. It's bafflingly positioned too far down and to the right of the Nitro Deck, which just feels uncomfortable and makes playing shooting games needlessly awkward. It forces me into awkward hand positions and detracts from the overall gaming experience and other benefits that the Nitro Deck brings. I've cut to some footage of me playing the intro section of Metroid Prime using the Nitro Deck, and although I admittedly have rather long and thin hands, you can see how my right thumb sits at the top of the right stick and how awkward the movements in pretty much any direction are, even during a section of gameplay that's relatively low on action. The right stick's position really can't be anything other than the Nitro Deck's biggest negative, as it goes a long way to undermine a lot of the positives of the controller. Other than the programmable buttons and back paddles, one of the other positives is the D-pad, which boasts a thoughtful design that is larger than most but has a tactile centre pivot that only requires soft presses for clear and precise input. Saying that, it can on occasion be too sensitive for its own good, with the more stronger presses occasionally triggering multiple directions, which can be frustrating. So overall, the Nitro Deck isn't the ultimate Switch controller I was hoping it to be. It does shine in some aspects, such as its tactile face buttons, programmable options and thoughtful D-pad design. However, the poorly placed right stick is a significant drawback, causing discomfort and outright inconvenience, particularly in games that require extensive right stick usage. The analog triggers could benefit from adjustments, and joysticks should have a bit more resistance to them too. The Nitro Deck looks great and shows promise, but is ultimately hampered by one too many flaws that stop it from being the Switch controller I've personally been looking for. So that's it for now, thanks so much for watching. Oh, but before I go, why don't I leave you with just how loud the shoulder buttons are.